In this video, we're going to talk about some practical ways to save some money while on a tight budget. Whether you're trying to build up some money for an emergency fund, you want to pay off a debt, or you just want to save some money for something that you want, we're going to use these tips to help you find the most of your money and live within your means. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Chase and this is a Painting Pinter's Guide to Personal Finance. If you do like this video and get some good information, then hit that like and that subscribe button. We'll put more videos out like this, as well as ways to help building your money and growing to an overall wealth. So let's jump right into those tips. All right, so the first step to making sure that you are saving money and following a budget is to start tracking your expenses. The best way to do this would be to either download an app or just go on to Google and search for a budget sheet that you can start tracking and seeing what's going on. If you're using a credit card, you can also see where all of your money is going and even categorize that into which categories they are within your app that you use for your credit cards. For me personally, I use a Google Excel sheet that I then add my purchases onto the sheet, and it will then categorize it based on what I pull on the drop-down menu, and we'll put all that information in there, and then I can review that on a monthly basis to see if I'm overspending or I'm adjusting my spending habits, so then I know to make changes as needed. If you don't know what you're doing with your money, then there's nothing you can do moving forward because you don't know where that money is going. Okay, so once you have tracked your expenses, the next step will be to create a budget. Now for me personally, I use that same Google Excel sheet and I have a different sheet on there that I use for my budget. I have different levels and different categories, and I have pre-allocated the particular amount of money that I want to spend at each budget, at each category, and if I go above or below that, I adjust that on the following month to make sure that I meet the particular amount that I would like to spend. So the first step in this would be to take a step back, look at all of your must-need, your have-to-use these expenses. For most people, that's going to be your housing, whether that's a rent or mortgage. That's going to be your utilities, that's the gas, the electricity, things like that. And then food is going to be the last one. So those are the three that you have to do. And then everything after that can be adjusted or changed based on your certain situation and your finances. So what you're going to need is you're going to have to go ahead and sit down, look at that budget, determine where your money is going, and set those pre-allocated amount that you would like to put for each category. And then after that, you need to stick to it. If you see yourself going out of that or straying away, then you need to start making some changes in your finances. Now we do have a lot of videos on budgets, and if you're interested in going a little bit deep dive on exactly how to do that, then we will put links at the end of this video that kind of goes over exactly how that works. All right, so once you have developed your budget and your pre-allocations for each category that you have, you need to start looking and seeing where you can make your cuts and find out which things are needed and which things are not. Now, for the most part, there are two big areas where people are putting a lot of their money that they really don't need to. And one is going to be if they're eating out, or they're going to be buying foods that are higher on the price range that really aren't needed, or there are alternatives that they just don't want to use. A lot of people buy a lot of brand name foods when they can be using alternative, cheaper products, or they'll be eating out, and by doing that, they'll be spending a lot more money. You should be able to create a meal for definitely less than $5 per meal, and if you do that over a week span, you can really cut the costs. Also, people have a lot of subscriptions that they really don't need, or they might be able to piggyback off of some friends and family to reduce their monthly expenses. With the day and age that we're in right now, where you have Netflix, YouTube TV, you have Apple TV, Hulu, HBO Max, there's a whole bunch of subscriptions out there that you really just don't need, and you can get a lot of that information or a lot of those videos online or from a friend that you can borrow their account without having to spend all that money. So in the end, you need to find where you're spending all the extra money and make adjustments to reach the goals that you're trying to achieve. Okay, so another way to save some money on a tight budget is to look and to find those deals around you. So if you're looking at food and you're having issues with that, you could consider going and buying your food on like a Monday or Tuesday. Some grocery stores will actually have a sale on things that are going to be expiring, so you can go and look at that area, buy that food. If you're not going to eat it within the expiration date, then you can go ahead and freeze it and then unfreeze it and then cook it at that time, and it works just as well. You could also consider buying in bulk. So certain foods that don't have expirations, buying in bulk is the best way to do that. And so consider going to some of your local wholesale stores and buying that so that you can save some money in the long run. You know you're going to use it eventually, so why not go ahead and buy it that way? And then the only other one that I would like to mention is considering using a cashback app or website that will give you money when you shop at these places. So a lot of these places like Rakuten will give you online cashback on these if you go through their website, but they do have options for if you are linking your credit cards to their account and you go in store, you can get some cash back. So that's just another way to get a little bit of money back as you're shopping at places that you would already be shopping. Okay, another way if you're struggling to make ends meet and you're on a tight budget, you could consider finding a way to make some extra income. Now there are multiple ways out there to do that, but just a few that I want to list is that you consider getting a part-time job on the weekends. You could sell items you no longer need. This is a big one on Facebook Marketplace because there's always something that you no longer use and you can give that out to somebody that might need it more so than you, while also still recouping some of the costs that you spent on that. And you could offer some services like freelancer or consulting like Fiverr. If you go on Fiverr, you could potentially do some skills that you have and offer them up on there, and then people could pay you per job. I would also recommend looking into ways to start building some passive income, whether that's something like building a YouTube channel or doing some sort of job that you can then build a course and then somebody else can utilize that. If you have a skill that not everybody has, then finding a way to utilize that or to get that out to them, to get that information, could potentially build you some money on the side. I would also recommend considering Rover. Rover is a great option if you love dogs and you want to play with them. You could just babysit them for the weekend. You get some great money associated with it, but then you also get to hang out with an awesome dog. Now, these may not be a long-term solution, but they are definitely options if you don't know exactly what to do or you just need that little bit extra cash. These are great things that you can pick and choose when you want to do them, so that if you do need a break from it, you can take a step back, halt your account, and then move forward with what you're doing with your life. So those are a few things that you could potentially save some money with a tight budget. If this is not an all-encompassing list, but if you did get some things on here that might have piqued your interest or you're interested in learning more about, especially with the budget side of things, we do have a couple of videos that kind of go in depth with how that works, and I will be putting links up here at the end of the video. If you're interested in finding other ways to start building some passive income, then we'll also have some videos on our channel, and consider hitting that subscribe and like button, because there are more things out there that we can talk about, that we will be putting out more videos to maybe help you start moving out of this tight budget and finding ways to move into more of a allocated budget and determine where you need to move moving forward. As always, we're so happy to put these videos out there because we do like to help you all out, and we want to remind you that we are here from your first penny to your first million. We'll see you next time.